Aloha! This video is in response to the Symbolic interaction article that mostly focused in the first half about Mead. The article starts out by explaining a little bit of background before it jumps into Mead's ideas of symbolic interaction, and it starts out with pragmatism, which is basically that there is no universal truth, that reality is in what you experience, and it's right there in front of you, not necessarily in spiritual things or in like universal truths. And it also talks about how the mind is a thinking process. It's not necessarily the big lump that's in your brain, but when they refer to the mind, it's the thinking processes that you go through. And there were two different types of pragmatism. One is nominal, that the individual decides what is right and follows their individual path, and the other is the realists, and that their reality and experience comes from the influences in society, and this is the group that Mead will particularly follow and that we'll talk about a little bit more later on. It also talks about behavioralism, and that it focuses on the behavior of a person or an animal. And there were also two types of behavioralism. That there was radical behavioralism, which focuses on observable behavior and focuses on the stimulus, and that people and animals have similar responses. The other one is social behavioralism, which Mead also follows, based on that influence of society that we had talked about a little bit before. And social behavioralism focuses on the reaction and the act, and what prompts that action, not necessarily on the stimulus, but the thought processes that follow and the response to a stimulus. And it separates human beings from animals because they have the ability of language and communication. And so as the article goes on, it talks about the ideas in Mead, the priority of the social, that in both pragmatism and behavioralism, which at the time the groups didn't necessarily get along, they were considered opposites, and Mead tried to combine their ideas into one by taking that influence of society on an individual and how they react to things. And so he talked a lot about gestures and how people's faces may make remarks like a smirk or different facial expressions or gestures that people do that they don't necessarily always think about and they don't always necessarily control. That these are one form of communication, and that there's another form of communication, significant symbols or language, and the ability to speak. And this ability that allows communication, it was different from gestures. It also focused, the article continued to talk about some more of Mead's ideas in the mental processes of the mind and how people think. And it was kind of hard to understand. I'd really like to finish the article because I don't understand really what's going on at this point, so hopefully I'll be able to understand it a little bit better once I finish the article and understand the big picture that you were talking about wanting us to have.